Hey everybody, what's going on? It's iVenom with the theouterdeuspodcast, episode 2. Finally got around to recording this bad boy. I've just been really busy this entire week. It's been actually kind of a rough week. I got a wisdom tooth, or rather wisdom teeth removal surgery this Monday. And it went well, except for the fact that I was in excruciating pain for at least the first part of the day on Monday. Um, this shit has just been bugging me so much. I needed to get it done. Finally was able to get it done with very, very good doctor here in the well, not here, but in the Cumming, Georgia area. I know maybe some of you have never would have thought that a city would be called Cumming, but in Georgia it exists. But that other connotation never crosses my mind. Anyway, today's the 4th day. I feel much better. I can eat more solid foods, except nothing too hard like nuts or crackers. Nothing crunchy. As the doctor ordered. I still feeling a bit of a slight numbness on my bottom lip on the right hand side. I did hear that the 3rd day is supposed to be peak pain, and though I'm not really hurting, it has been a little sore yesterday and a bit more sensitive today, so hopefully I should be good to go tomorrow on the more pain and numb wise. But yeah, I'm really glad I got it done. The only thing now is that I'm gonna have to get braces at some point again, next year at least. I used to have braces as a child, and Jesus, it was not a pleasant experience. Also, as a child, I didn't really like to go to Mexico, and that's where the operations, or not really an operation, but the procedure would be done because it's cheaper over there. Some of you don't know. But anyway, before we get into this topic, I just want to address and clarify a few things about myself and what's been going on this week besides my surgery. I have been really hard at work and getting this podcast up and running on multiple channels or services. Like I got it running on Spotify, I got it running on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Listen Notes, Deezer, all these other podcasting services, Overcast. I've already applied to Pandora, and I think I can't recall if I did iHeartRadio, but and I got it on SoundCloud as well. Although SoundCloud isn't my main host, Podbean is, and of course this podcast is natively on Podbean, and I really appreciate how easy it is or how easy they make it for me to get up and running. SoundCloud isn't my main host, so if you're listening to this and you're on SoundCloud, after about the 3rd episode, the 1st episode should be unavailable. If everything goes well with this podcast in the near future, or whatever future, this podcast is in store for me, then hopefully I can get to a level where I have all these episodes up on SoundCloud accessible, because I know how valuable SoundCloud is, and it's not something that I want to get rid of it, but it's an alternate host for now. And of course, if you're on SoundCloud and you like this podcast, you missed an episode, on my profile, the iVenom profile, there should be a link to my link tree, and that goes for everybody else. If you're on my Instagram, or if you're on my Facebook, or if you don't know any of this, my Facebook is should be, let me pull this bad boy up real quick, because I always forget about Facebook, the URL at least. for my profile. If you want to follow my Facebook and get some updates or whatever I'm doing, facebook.com/Ivan Nero.Trevino. That's my Facebook. Instagram is instagram.com/the_outer heaven. My YouTube is youtube.com/outer heaven_iVenom. And if you want to go to my Instagram, I do have a link, and on my Facebook, both in the bios, there's a link tree showing all the links to where I have this podcast and Patreon that I have under construction. And I also have my website that Podbean has allowed me to have through there, through the custom domain. And that website is also theouterdeuspodcast.podbean.com. If you're looking to get a brief summary of me, I have it there. But if you haven't stumbled upon the website, I'll just give it to you right now, which is one of the things I wanted to discuss real quick right before I get into this discussion. So a little bit about me, because it was a bit more scatterbrained than that first episode. I'd like to keep it a bit more organized this time, even though it's still just a conversation, stream of consciousness, as I like to call it. Me. Who am I? I am iVenom, and that's the moniker I donned after, well, not after, but like 2 to 3 years ago as a gamer. Every gamer knows that, there's always that moniker that they keep for life. So I wanted to use that one for this one, especially since it would be gamer centric or gaming focused, and gaming is part of the overall tech space. So I might as well just keep that one. A very embarrassing gamer tag that I used to have was first Naruto, back when I was a big Narutard thing. Oh, how things have changed. My buddy would always give me shit for it. He's probably gonna give me shit if he listens to it right now, or any of my other friends. But yeah, then I just changed it to iVenom, which mostly started once I got into Snapchat. I don't really use Snapchat too much anymore, but I still have it. And also once I was able to change the gamer tag on PS4, and of course now PS5. But it mostly started on Steam. The iVenom just comes from, the first lowercase letter I, like iPhone, and then Ivan, the root word for my first name. And then, of course, Venom comes from, I just thought about Metal Gear Solid 5, so I just called myself iVenom, and it just flows very well. So, yeah, that's who I am. And, of course, my background is in tech. I have, well, not just in tech, or at least it is tech, but not always in the traditional sense that we think about, which is one of the things that I'm going to get into. I was a landscaper as a much more younger individual in my teens. Worked for my dad as that. It's not something I would ever go back, but maybe I would think about taking over the business. My dad's not getting any younger. I'm not getting any younger, though I am still young. But then after that, I got into art for school. But like every young person they get desperate for that money, and school wasn't really doing any favors about that. So I joined a program that helped me get a position in a credit card processing company called Elevon. So I was working a desk job for about 4 years, starting in 2014. I was a desktop technician. I did learn a lot of things there. I would call that job a big thing. It was a big part of my life that helped me get into this type of space, though it did start with my mom pushing me to become more of a tech like my uncle. Though I did reject it, I guess it kind of just found itself back to me. So I was there as a technician for 4 years. I got my certification as an uh, A plus technician. Which, by the way, if you're looking into getting into school, whether tech or anything, and they have certification programs, take the exams. Do you know why? Because in the long run, it's still going to end up taking you way less time and way less money than what college is going to be able to give you, at least in a more hands-on experience. Because with college, it's a bit more book smart. You know how they say, oh, textbook material. Oh, that's textbook. So, but once you get into a more like certification style schooling, whether it's just by yourself, because it's 2021, people, you can educate yourself very easily nowadays. There's a lot of avenues to help you get into a very good paying position, whatever it is that you can think about. And I'm not trying to degrade college education, because I've been there and it's very helpful, but you know times are different. You can't just go to school so easily like it was back in last century, where it costed so little and you could do so much. It's not like that anymore. It's very hard for people to get into school and to come out with no debt. But hey, you know what? Others do it. You got to bust your ass. If the certification style isn't for you, you'd like to get into a more traditional schooling environment, then I would say college. But bust your ass so you don't have to pay shit to the fucking government, because they love gouging you out for that money. Anyway, after that, I decided wanted to get into film. I didn't want to be a tech forever. And I know some of you techies out there might be like, yo, man, what the fuck? How, though? And it's like, man, my passion has always been form of storytelling. In high school, I wanted to become a mangaka. If you don't know what that means, it just means a comic book artist, or a comic book author, but in the Japanese sense, manga, anime. I'm sure you've already heard of those words, manga is just Japanese comic books. Anime is just pretty much Japanese cartoons. And that's what I wanted to get into. But at that point, I pretty much tapered off into something else. Film has always been a big part of me as well. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a piece of food in my fucking mouth. That's the problem with these surgeries, man. They fucking do that to you. I don't know where to put it. I'm just very sorry, guys. I'm very sorry. Well, I'll swallow it. It's just food. Ew, you actually did that? Yeah, I did that. Whatever. Anyway, um, I say a lot, and I took classes that helped you with Oh, it's so hard. Please, if you're gonna get into communications, you want to do public speaking, get rid of that fucking I'm telling you, it's a lifesaver. Everybody will take you more seriously. Mm. But I digress. I got into a film school. I was in the program for about a year. Very valuable experience. It was like an e-curriculum. And I worked with the filmmaker by the name of Jason Wynn. Really great guy, really down to earth guy. Not afraid to tell you what you need to fucking do in order to get the job done, get the work done. He was my mentor. He was a good teacher. I worked with him on a couple projects. He helped me on my silent film. I had that up on my Outer Heaven account. If you'd like to see it, it's a student film. I have worked on other projects since then, a couple projects. Like I have a Christian short film on my YouTube as well. If you'd like to check that out, even on just a technical standpoint, feel free to go there. I have done a guerrilla style filmmaking with my friends of a Pulp Fiction recreation. You can go check that out there as well. Really learned a lot about editing, which is really helping me right now with the audio mixing and things like that. There's that again, guys, that I told you about. Along the way, though, I met some people that promised me big things for my career. They wanted me to, or they claimed to know a lot. A lot of people have connections, and this and that. It's a it's that tale is as old as time in the film business. To make a long story short, my dreams were crushed. I was conned. The person didn't even give me back my camera gear. Keep in mind, I didn't even have a job at this point. I actually was living off of savings. At some point, I was living alone, but then I went back to live with the folks just because I wanted to save. And I had big aspirations. The story that I've concocted since high school was still there. That's the story that I eventually wanted to build up, though I wanted to do other things to build up to that, which was part of the curriculum in film school. I I didn't finish that filmmaking script, or rather that feature film script. I did finish a short film script, but I never was able to materialize it because schedules got in the way. Unfortunate. It was nice. My Jason really liked it. Um, but we never just got around to do it. And I did have a cast, I did have a place in mind, and it just never materialized. Regardless, these people that I met over the course of my time as an aspiring filmmaker, they wanted a horror film. And I am a horror aficionado. I really love horror. Horror games are to die for, no pun intended. And I pretty much had a 3-page short film. 3 pages, mind you, 3 pages. And after this person said that they wanted a feature film, I had to find a way to create a completely new story and make it at least 70 pages. Came out to 60, but I kept having to rework it and rework it and rework it up until I got to about 70 to 80 pages. And keep in mind, I'm writing around a low budget with the thought of a low budget. You know, I said a long story short, and I'm not making this any shorter for you guys. The point is that I had all these things. He promised me so many things, all this funding help that was supposed to be coming. He even offered me to co-own a brandy. And keep in mind, I actually did taste that motherfucker, and it tasted really good. And I'm not really a person that drinks, though I have gotten fucked up on several occasions. Uh, oh my god, that's another story for another time for some of you. Anyway, those plans fell through, and in the end, this person didn't even give back my gear. I would lend it to him sometimes, and at some point, he didn't even give it to me back. This was over $3,000, I think, worth of gear. That sounded really weird. Let me try that again. That was over $3,000 worth of gear. $3,000, and I never got it back. And it's unfortunate. Now I just think about it, and it's like, you know what? Whatever. I've made peace with that part of my life, but I was heartbroken because it didn't work out. I had that whole script. I had actors, crew. I was part of the actors. I had actors. I had crew. I was looking into the permits. I was looking into the locations. I was looking into having potential actors in there because that's what the guy promised me. That I could have someone in there that's bankable. You know? I had everyone on board. And in the end, it didn't happen. And I was so heartbroken. And a buddy of mine got me into tech again, reselling. And now, even with the ups and downs of COVID, I run my own store, trying to still get it up and running. I opened it this year. But as you can see, tech made its way back to me regardless. You know, I can build PCs. I can fix PCs. I can now fix phones. I know my way around a phone. Obviously, they become so essential and a part of our life that there's no getting around it anymore. The Pandora's box is open, as they say. And I guess it kind of leads to where we are now. So that's a bit about me. Regardless, I've always been a gamer. I'll always remain a film buff as well. I love film. I love games. I love music, though music isn't really something we're going to talk about today. And of course, I love tech, and I'm even venturing into building my own Linux machine because Microsoft and these companies are just so hell bent on just watching everything. And I feel like I repeated that from the last episode. Regardless. And I never built a laptop. It'd be fun to build a laptop with Linux on it, you know? Anyway, so this episode I wanted to discuss about tech and us humans and how similar we are in terms of wanting to always improve and having to adapt as well to that constant improvement. I say that though as tech is doing it, but it might as well be soon, right? I mean, we already have AI that's like so advanced to levels we didn't think we were going to see this soon. Robots with it's insane. My girlfriend just sent me an article about that AI, that Sophia android that was built in Hong Kong in 2015, which has made some. One time it made some. It said that it wanted to destroy all humans. Keep in mind, the interviewer egged it on, though that doesn't mean people can't be alarmed because we've seen this movie way too many fucking times to let this shit happen. Who is letting these tech people who's allowing these people to continue work that everyone is saying to not do? Why doesn't anyone do anything about it? Yeah, and here I am complaining about people. Why doesn't I'm the one here complaining about nobody doing anything about it? Talking over a microphone. Regardless. The android wants to have a family. This just happened a few days ago on the 9th or 8th. An article was written about an android wanting to have a family, but it's so self-aware and so intelligent right now that it actually deduced that it's way too young to have a family. Though that is true considering it was built back in 2015. And it even has a citizenship. A fucking android has a citizenship, and I found out it's an artist. It literally sold a fucking painting for $680,000, I believe. So let me pull up the article real quick. Hold on. $680,000. Though to be fair, that is so fucking cool. Who wouldn't want to buy a fucking drawing that an android drew, right? What is... Oh, I was close. $690,000. Though I don't know why Mexican pesos were even mentioned in the article, but if you're interested in that, it's $690,000 is about 14.3 million Mexican pesos. I'm pretty sure Mexicans right now are salivating at the mouth listening to that. Or at least my family members that can speak English. So, yeah. We have, in 2021, I've already mentioned in the last episode that we are living in the world of cyberpunk already, which is true. The AI is here. Corporations are bigger than they've ever been. We're already in the point where we're questioning what it means to be human. And I think that just, though that's not something I want to get into just yet, I do think it's an ever-changing discussion. Because humanity is never the same 10, 15, 20 years from where we are, either now, before, or after. It's always ever changing. You know, I'm pretty sure if people from the fucking 1500s looked at the way we were living right now, they would think, like, what the fuck is going on here? Could you imagine? Like, we always think about people from our future coming back to us. But, like, actually take the time to, like, think about how people back then would actually view us. How would they view us? Would they consider us like gods or magicians or whatever? Like, dude, the amount of time, or rather, it has been a very long time since the 1500s, but the amount that technology has improved and progressed since then is so giant. Like, I don't think they could ever fathom like how they could even get there. I'm still trying to figure out how we even got here. Like, how did we get here? How did these fucking smart ass people think to themselves, oh, you know what? How about we put these fucking conductors on these boards and maybe we can just create a fucking new world out of it? Like, who are these people? How did they figure it out? We're still trying to we still every day or every week or every month, depending on what phone you use, have to figure out how we're gonna adapt to the new fucking updates that Apple and Samsung give us. And now we have to also adapt to the fact that we have an Android, living amongst us in this world with such a high level of intelligence that it even knows that it's still too early for it to have kids. Like, how do you adapt? Like, you're being pulled in every single direction when it comes to these types of things. But I'm pretty sure even people back in the last century thought the same in certain aspects. But I also wanted to talk about. I don't think I'm done with this conversation yet, though. So let me not move on just yet. we, well, it does play into what I was about to get into, but we have improved so much over the past 10 to 20 years. It's not the same whatsoever. Back in 2000, we had cathode ray, like CTRs, those big damn monitors that we all used to have in our homes. And now we have like now we have these super thin, even curved monitors, and even then it doesn't even matter because we have we've always had projectors, but they're even more advanced. Now we have the smart TVs where barely anything is like sticking out of the TV. We have we have self-driving cars. We have pocket computers, aka phones. We still have laptops. Consoles are and PCs are stronger than they've ever been, and they allow for a lot of capabilities, especially with communicating with people that you could normally never communicate with, especially at such a fast fast velocity. That's redundant. Such a high rate or a fast rate. It's not the same. Even 5 years ago, it wasn't the same. Not at all. Gaming wise, it's not the same. You know, I've been stuck playing Dragon Ball Fighters on PC for like 4 years, and it's haven't done, and it hasn't done me any favors on catching up in any on games. Though I'm trying. I'm trying. Regardless, I'm always trying to be up to date with the tech. I don't want to be that old fucking person that doesn't know what the hell is going on and doesn't want to adapt or can't adapt or is too far out of the loop to even adapt to the constant tech. Every single year there's something new. Every single year. And and I think but I think people right now see, and I'm talking to the millennials here. People that are my age and older, like up to about 40 or whatever. You guys are still too fucking young, and you guys are being raised in a world, same world as me, where you can view everything from the outside because you have the internet. The internet is there for you to be able to see how everybody reacts, how everybody talks, how everybody behaves, the type of stuff that's being done in the world, and that it helps you be able, like, this is so unprecedented in human history. It's so unprecedented. You can never be able to do this before, where you could learn the same way these AIs are learning from by just watching us via cameras or databases. That's the same thing that we're doing when it comes to our own people. We've never been able to do these things and learn at this rate. We've become so self-aware. I mean, there are people that are not self-aware at all about the things that they do. But we have the tech that allows us to be able to be so self-aware of our misgivings and our flaws, but at the same time our pros and the good things that we can do. It just helps us. It lets us be able to improve. And it's so insane that not a lot of people talk about this stuff. Or maybe I'm out of the loop. Maybe I'm out of the loop. And then again, I don't know everything. Not everybody knows everything. I'm always going to say that. Not everybody knows anything. We're just people. Humans are humans. They're not God. Always remember that. Always remember that, guys. Always remember that. Humans are fallible. God isn't. But he only is when under limited human understanding. Anyway, I don't want to get into that discussion on this episode. Yeah, we've been able to ascertain so much about ourselves on an individual level and on a global level because what we can see with the internet. I can't remember if I talked about this in the last episode, but if I did, whatever. I'm gonna get a bit more. Trying to get a bit more deeper in it, and I don't even think 5 years ago we've been able to like actually see at the rate that we're seeing now. Or maybe I'm speaking for everybody, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel when it comes to seeing everything that I'm seeing on the internet. I can see like how people react and all this stuff, and it's like just looking at it from the outside perspective, I can see a bit more clearly. I'm able to detach myself from things so easily, and I think that also has to do with the tech that's in the palm of our hand, literally in the palm of our hand, fucking phone. I've been able to become so apathetic. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Apathetic to things that happen. But I don't think it means that there's something wrong with me. I think it's just because of the bombardment of all the tech and all the news and even all the negativity that can come out because of this new tech. I mean, this has been talked about. I'm sure you guys have heard about this before, about how tech can exacerbate and magnify some of our worst tendencies, which is true because you're not even in person. If you were in front of people, a lot of y'all wouldn't be saying some of the shit that y'all would. Maybe I wouldn't either, because sometimes you just need to keep quiet. But that's the thing, right? The fucking computer, the fucking phone, the fucking game console lets you to just say shit because there's no repercussions. Right? But I'm pretty sure we weren't even thinking about that 5 years ago. We're just starting to think about that now and probably last year. As far as conversations that I've seen or heard about on the internet. And just imagine how much crazier it's going to get, like, further on. We like, again, this is something that I'm going to repeat again. We've never been able to do something like this before, and it's so good. But what sucks is that some of us just fall into the same trap of not being able to learn because it's hard. Some of us don't want to learn because we're just so fucking thick-headed about what we want. So hard. Like today, I literally had someone tell me, at my store I have a PS4 Slim, and they didn't know if it had the cables or not, and that's not what I'm not trying to say that they're dumb or anything, but it's not the fact that they wondered if it had the cables. It's the fact that they thought, they told me, oh, our TV doesn't have the connectors, and I was like, the connectors? This person was so out of the loop that they thought we still used I think, what were they called, the component cables, the red, white, yellow. They still thought we used that, and like, it was so, I felt so weird to have to tell this person, yeah, we haven't used those for like over 10 years. Dude, imagine someone told you that they didn't know about HDMI in 2021. That they thought we were still using those three fucking cables, dude. But that's the thing, like, we live Sometimes we lose sight of like the amount of people there are and the conditions that they live in, or just the stuff that they keep up with. Like not everybody knows about the latest thing. Not everybody, and there's something to envy there because at least they're not bogged down by all that. They're more, but though usually from what I see, the people that aren't bogged down by the actual physical tech are usually bogged down by the software, like the apps, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. A lot of the people that are so out of the loop hardware wise are in the loop software wise. They really are. They get sucked into that shit so easily. I would know. I get sucked into that shit easily too. But I see it. I see it everywhere. And that's the thing. Like, tech improves so much that it doesn't allow us to breathe. It doesn't allow us to. It doesn't allow us to have time with the tech that we just got. Same thing with gaming. Console wise, it's great because it doesn't really improve. It improves, but on a software level because of updates. Consoles, just like phones and computers, they get updates. It helps with quality of life and stuff, but they don't really come with new hardware unless it's like a slim version or whatever. Ever since the PS2 days, PS2 Slim, or the PS3 days, PS3 Slim, or the last gen, they had the Nintendo Switch, Switch Lite, and even in the PS3 days, they had the 3DS, 3DS XL. They also had the DSi, I forget how many fucking DS versions they have, and it sucks. I feel terrible having to say that. That's how much there is. Like I forget sometimes. It was what, the DS Lite, and then it was the DS XL? I think it was the DS XL. Yeah, because I remember because I remember clearly that I tried animation. DS XL had an animation app. That's pretty cool. Just a fun fact for you. And that was the first time I ever did it, and it turned out pretty good for an amateur person. And then PS4 time came. PS4, PS4 Slim, PS4 Pro, Xbox, Xbox One X, Xbox One S, Switch, Switch Lite. Then we had the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the 2DS. But the thing is, it doesn't happen every year. But with computers, every single fucking year, there's something new. There's so many countless models of Windows machines out there. Technically, they're not exactly Windows machines because they have other manufacturer that isn't Microsoft. Microsoft, of course, makes Windows, but you have the Toshibas, you have the fucking old school right here, Compaqs, you have the Sonys, you have the Lenovo's, you have the the gateways, you have, I don't even know if Gateway still makes fucking computers. I know Compaq doesn't, though. I did like first desktop was a Compaq, so I'll always remember the Compaq. IBM, IBM owns, I think, Lenovo, if I remember correctly. IBM and Lenovo are like the same thing right now. What else? Well, I mean, Microsoft now do make their machines. Like, they don't make desktops, but they sure make laptops. Like the Surface Laptop, Surface Laptop 2, 3, 4, Pros. Google now makes their laptops, the Chromebooks, Macs, Mac OS, the good, Macs every single year, new Mac. Sometimes, like, all these computers have even 6-month variations. And not to mention they have the upgraded version with new RAM or storage or whatever. So there's just so much every single year, just 1 year. That's not even counting phones. Sometimes phones have 6-month intervals. And it's like, dude, we just got this new tech. We haven't even, and it gets so much. And it's very harmful for some people because some people just can't help but get the latest stuff, And that's very, and it doesn't help people on a mental in a mental sense, I guess I'll say it like that. And it just can be very harmful to people, and they don't even know it. Like, they gotta have a new one. They gotta have the new one. And it's like, dude, so you gotta realize sometimes these things just aren't really that different. Unfortunately, these companies they just gotta make the money. They gotta pump out something new, and it's like, it's just a never-ending cycle. And but the only reason they even get are allowed to do it is because people flock to it, you know. And I get it. Like that's the thing. That like there's always an improvement, even if it's a small change. Like there's always like constant. Just like how people throughout human history are always trying to improve technology. Them and their tech. Though a lot of tech, what we think about as tech now, isn't what technology is as a whole. Like fucking cars is tech too. You know, shovels, tractors, trains, faucets, all the light bulbs and everything. All of this is tech. And I read a really interesting article because I was trying to get a little bit more prepared. I just didn't want to talk about bullshit. You know, this episode I just want to look up. Maybe somebody was tracking something. So let me pull up the article. There was something. Let me get it to my email real quick. Well, actually, it would be easier if I just got on my phone. See? Convenience. Convenience is the thing, guys. Convenience. That's what gets us to come back. That's what gets us to keep being in there, And just the fact that all of these stuff is convenient, we'll let it happen because we want things to be easy. We lose sight of the hard work. Though I'm not saying that none of these things that makes our lives easier that didn't consist of hard work. But you can't forget about the hard work, the effort. Don't get too comfortable. You can never get too comfortable. I know we like to be comfortable, but you can never be too comfortable. And there's another topic that I can get to with that, but let me get into this first. So the article was by Vox. Who was the writer? Ezra Klein. So really great title. Technology is changing how we live, but it needs to change how we work. So right there, that's the thing what I'm talking about right now, about the convenience. It's like it really is changing the way we're just going about our day-to-day lives, with communicating with people over our phone. The way we talk, the way we text, the way we may video call, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on a computer, whether it's on an app, whether it's us just watching Netflix. This is some of the points that they actually make in the article. Whether we're watching Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or whatever. Just being there, just doing nothing, just being comfortable, And I'm not saying you can't just sometimes have a seat, just watch some shit, I love film, It consists of me having to sit down and not doing anything else but watching what's in front of me. But that's a lot of what we think about tech nowadays. And I'm sure you heard earlier how I said tech is so advanced right now. It's unbelievable compared to before. But this article tries to mention how, yes, that is true, but we're only thinking about a specific subset in tech. We're not even talking about planes, cars, though cars are getting a bit more advanced. But how long were cars like pretty much the same fucking thing? For how many years? Same thing. Cars didn't really. It's insane how much time cars didn't really improve, except maybe on gas mileage and maybe like part quality. But I'm not a car guy. I can't say. But from the outside looking in, cars didn't really change except maybe on a surface level, usually cosmetically. They used to be very square. Well, first round, and then they went through a square phase, and then they got a bit more round again. And now this year, well, not this year, but over the past 10 years, we've been getting, the electric car, the electric car movement. People are trying to get into, I think, hydrogen-based cars instead of electric. I think nuclear-powered cars too. It's crazy. It's crazy shit. Crazy shit. But look how long it took for just cars to get there. Computers and normal tech like this consistently improve, and there was a significant view in the way, not view, but you could easily see how much better modern technology got from its earliest inceptions, like Pong. Like Pong was, if I remember correctly, it was the first game. I should know that. Holy shit. Let me just confirm. Back in 1972. Wow, I didn't even know what year it was. Not to say that shit can't be fun, but damn, that was a long time ago. Atari. Oh, always remember the Atari though. Uh, Soon after its release, several companies began producing games that closely mimicked its gameplay. I'm pretty sure this was the first fucking game, though. Video game, at least, as far as I remember. But I can't remember. It's like the only talked about one, so I can't really say at the top of my head if there's anything else. Regardless, you could see like a significant change across the board when it came to video games primarily, like as years went on, especially with like laptops and desktops and monitors and even I think that's what I'll go with that. Those. But cars stayed very much the same for a while. Like it did boom in the middle of the last century, but like this article points out, like after the 70s, it kind of tapered off. I think what was the word that it used in the article? It was the TFP, which is the total factor productivity. So they make a point that it actually lowered over the years, which kind of makes sense. Like look at planes. How much have planes really changed? Fucking Spirit doesn't even have outlets to charge phones. See how it just goes back to the fucking phones and modern tech? How does it serve modern tech? How does it serve the modern tech? Because we're so entrenched into the modern tech, like it has to serve that, you know? It just has to serve that. But planes haven't really changed that much, you know? Planes, cars, shovels are still shovels, you know? How much, I mean, do you really, not all the time do you need to reinvent the wheel, but damn. One of the one of the statements in the article, I can't remember if it was, I don't think the writer of the article said it, but it was somebody that they were commenting about. What was the name of this person? Let me see. I'm trying to find it. Stay with me. I think Peter Thiel. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He said at one point, we were promised flying cars. We got 140 characters. That is such an excellent quote. Because I don't like memes. Memes, for example. Like memes have so much effect on us and how we can view things or whatever, and they're so simple. And I swear it's like the only thing people use the internet nowadays, which is pretty sad. They don't understand people don't understand the power that they have. I'm telling you, there's so much power in the internet. That's why they try to regulate it all the fucking time. And that doesn't even change the fact that the internet is just getting better. We're not even at the apex of it. Crypto. Blockchain technology. Look into it. Though I don't understand the whole thing. I only understand a little bit of it. It's still intriguing, and it doesn't take a genius to know that it's where we're headed. Don't be those. That's the technology. Like, we're in a stage back in like the 80s. Like in the 80s where like the boom was happening, like the silent boom in technology with computers and internet and cybersecurity, and even in the 90s. That's what's happening right now, but not many. That's why this technology is important. You need to be able to see the signs. You need to be able to read history and see what's happening with this tech. You know, that's the new revolution. That's the new boom. Be there. Be a part of it. You know, similar to the dot-com the dot-com boom and bubble. It's happening too, but hopefully it doesn't get as bad as the dot-com bubble when so many companies went under. I'm pretty sure some projects are going to go under, but be part of that movement. Don't millennials. It's not the same anymore. You should be able to see these things, man. It's not the time anymore. We're the generation that needs to break off that whole we're gonna just get left behind. That's not happening with this generation anymore. We're the bridge because, like I said in the last episode, we can still remember what it was like to not have the kind of tech that we have now. So many people that are living now don't. People that are my age, maybe 25 to 24, up until 40 years old, they still remember. There's still a link. But we were also raised in this new tech, so we're like the best of both worlds. How Jor-El told Superman, Man of Steel. Anyway, that's what's happening in that tech. Don't get left behind, man. Do not become one of those people that get left behind. You have no excuse, man. We have so much resources at our disposal. Then again, look at that. That's an example right there. New tech right there. New wave of revolution happening in the internet. New wave of revolution happening in the internet right there. That's another part of an incoming wave of new tech that you're going to have to adapt to, that you're going to have to learn. I mentioned something like that in the last episode too, where my friend was asking me what an NFT is. Like, that's good that she actually asked me that. That's good. Don't get left behind. We are not the people that are going to be left behind. No matter how many years pass from now, up until you're 60, 70, do not let yourself get left behind, because that is one of the worst things that can happen to you as an individual living in a modern society. Can't let it happen. Do not let it happen. You always got to update yourself. And see how that plays into the whole we are always updating the technology, and it's so crazy because that is a cycle. The technology ends up having to make us adapt to it. And humans naturally want to keep adapting. They want to keep constantly improving, no matter what adversities face us, face humanity. We always develop new tech to be able to help us adapt to the incoming dangers or just new things in general. We do it. We keep doing it. But then eventually, you have to adapt to it, because not everybody is developing this new tech. Some of us are just outside. We're not developing anything. We're just given this new shit, and we're expected to roll with it. But then some person might get inspired. And that new person will create new tech. And then they're going to serve as the wave to make people adapt to it. And then you're going to make new tech. And it's just a never-ending cycle. We're both... Whether modern tech or old tech, it was always improving. Though this article that I did mention, I'll let you know the name of it again. Technology is changing how we live, but it needs to change how we work, by Ezra Klein on Vox.com. They do mention, let me get into something here that they were talking about. Hold on, I read this yesterday. Since 1970, TFP has grown at only about a third the rate it grew from 1920 to 1970. If that sounds arid and technical, then my mistake. It means we're poor, working longer hours, and leaving a worse world for our grandchildren than we otherwise would be. The 2015 economic report of the president noted that if productivity growth had continued to roar along at its 1948 to 1973 pace, the average household's income would be $30,000 higher than it is today. So that's what that's what this writer is trying to, talk about. He's trying to make a point that we need to be able to develop tech that lets us work better. Though, to be fair, hasn't it though? especially with this coming pandemic that just happened. It allowed people, especially even podcasters and comedians that, like Bill Burr, Bill Kreischer, like Bill Burr and Bill Kreischer, they have a podcast called the Bill Burt Podcast. And what they did for like the first few episodes, I think they were in person, but then eventually they started to do Zoom. Look at what that tech helped them to do. Like, they were talking about how, why do they even really need to go in person? Why can't they just do it that way? Technically, even though they're just having fun, it is part of the things that they do. It's still work, and it's not something that's only limited to a podcasting space. It can be used for company meetings, executive meetings. Why do I yeah, maybe you do. Maybe, that's part of the tech, the natural inclination of it, or tech side of it that creeps upon all of us, that we're going to lose that human side of us, that human touch. And that's why we don't do it. Maybe it's a subconscious level. It's a subconscious thing. People always love a human touch. That handcrafted touch, that real touch. I guess that's why we kind of lean into it, even if we have all this tech to us. But the thing is, it's still there. The tech is there, but we're not utilizing it to our full potential to be able to help us make a better world. In a way, we are, but are we going that far? Like that quote said, we were promised flying cars, but we got 150 characters. And as valuable as these social media platforms are, would they really be that much better than a fucking plane that would, I don't know, be able to run off of water? There's so much water in the world. We're not going to run out anytime soon. Except LA, because they're fucked up. They can't seem to make it work. They're right next to the fucking water. Like desalination. There's so much water in the world, but where's the desalination tech? I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but how come it's not on a much larger scale? Where's that? So we're so busy trying to figure out, like, if Twitter's gonna, there's still other avenues to talk besides Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and I'm not trying to, like, again, I don't want to downplay the, role that these applications have, because they have really good roles to play in businesses. But there's so much other things that we could do. Like, we just gotta think up of the shit. China just did the teleportation, tech. My girlfriend couldn't believe when I mentioned that, but it fucking happened. Oh, we're there. But you know how awesome that is? Never mind that it's the Chinese, but it's fucking awesome. Fucking awesome that we can do that now. Right? People always think about, oh, you know what? I actually got sidetracked with the whole meme thing, but now I'm getting back to it. Flying cars, memes. There was a meme. There's memes where, like, we envision this sort of utopian type of thing, type of civilization, and then what we get is this, like, of course this is exaggerated, but this downtrodden, nasty looking city, destroyed city, pretty much a opposite dystopia, not a utopia. But that's what we always envisioned. We envisioned a better future. We envisioned a better world, better people. Take Star Trek. Star Trek is supposed to be the epitome of, like, or like the best that we can be. Utopian society right there, Even though there are villains in Star Wars. Oof, sorry. Oh my god, I can't believe I confused those two. My fault. Star Trek, my fault. Yeah, we always, it was always showing up in our media, like film or TV shows, like I just mentioned. All this, greatness. Well, in Star Wars, to be fair, it was pretty bad. It did get pretty bad, regardless of how great their tech was. It didn't really matter if they had new tech. They were still facing pretty human problems, like dictatorships and greedy motherfuckers and power-hungry individuals and dumb people and incest and incest. That's George Lucas's fault, man. He's stupid. They just had to change that shit. Whatever, man. Whatever. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. Luke didn't know, man. Luke didn't know, and Leia didn't know. Obi-Wan knew though. That bastard. Obi-Wan fucking knew, and he didn't think to say shit, bruh, until the sixth episode. Anyway, sixth episode. Anyway, yeah, we're like, I don't want to come off as a complainer because, and again, we have great things to our disposal. You know, these apps really help when it comes to the communication of certain countries. You know, how they communicate with the rest of the world, or the way they, whether it helps with business, advertisements, spreading awareness. You know, it really helps people know about the things that are going on in this world, which they should. You know, we do live in a pretty global society, despite our borders and that are much needed, and our separate governments that are much needed as well. No matter how much we think we're right more than another country, you need to let these people be themselves, man. You need to let these people be themselves. If it's their fate to become poverty-stricken country, let them be. Though that's pretty dark. That's pretty dark. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. That's just because the United States has just become such a global police force. You just leave like, it's fine to help other people, but goddamn, man, go away, man. I live here and it's like shit. Anyway, they really do help. They help us with knowing about companies, knowing about resumes, knowing about, or like, just doing the whole process on a much more easier, that's the word again, easier, convenience. That's why we can't let it go, man, because it's so convenient. But why shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't it be? Does it always have to be hard? Doesn't? You know? Never forget that it will always be hard, but it's okay if sometimes we do things to make it less hard. Because that's what we've always done since the invention of the wheel. You think that once they made the wheel, they were going to be like, no, we're just going to carry this shit, bro. I don't give a fuck if my back fucks up or my fucking leg breaks or I fall. Nah, bro, fuck this wheel. No. No. They weren't going to go back because it was always about convenience, about having to improve day-to-day life. You know? Maybe the article, maybe this, there's a lot of talking points that the article does, that makes, that is right about, the value we put on certain tech and how we're not viewing other things. It's all tech, all these things, like whether it's furniture or carpet or computers, printers, sandpaper. They're all different forms of tech. But it's like, are we doing the best to maximize what we can do with certain subsets of technology? Does it really just have to be computers and laptops and video game consoles and tablets? It always feels like we're going into a more, well, obviously we are, and so there's no denying it, that we're going into a more digital world where we live in. It's hard for us to get out of it. Like Elon Musk said that we're already cyborgs. In a way, he's right. And I think we just lost sight of that. We haven't realized it up until now. That we've already gone to a point where like there is no going back, unless something catastrophic happens. I hope not. That's where the evil side comes in. It's like, yo, man, maybe it should happen. Maybe it should fucking happen. Maybe it should happen just so like they can learn to not be like this anymore. But it's like, we're just going to repeat the same cycle, right? Because some people aren't going to remember. But the crazy thing is just how fast tech improved, like since the 1800s to like the mid 1900s, you know? And that's a lot, also something the article was bringing up, just, the Industrial Revolution, electricity, the light bulb, cars, you know, electric grid system, trains, well, the atom bomb, you know? Oh, that's a pretty terrible invention. Terrible invention. Not to say bad shit is still being made as of now. COVID. Sorry. But it's just so much, man. Even I'm getting overloaded right now. You know? There's always new shit. There's always new shit. On a general, you know what? On a general sense, don't fall to the wayside. I'll put it that way. Don't fall to the wayside. Don't let these waves, throw you off. Always be prepared for the new waves of tech, because it's always gonna happen. Every time. It's only when you keep digging yourself into it where you can lose yourself, I guess, in a figurative and literal way, especially with the whole advent of cybernetic enhancements and AI. Dig so deep into that, might become one yourself, like a literal cyborg, less of a metaphorical one, I guess. But are we really not human just because we might get that? Nah. That's the thing, though. What makes us human? What we classify as human now is probably not something people thought about like 100 years ago. Not in the same way, not in every way anyway. Because there's always been philosophers throughout ages that have raised questions that some people find fascinating or new even now. Tech is constant. It's ever improving. Never forget that. But never forget that tech doesn't just encompass microphones, consoles, video games, and phones and screens. It's everything. And are we doing enough? Are we doing enough to improve? To actually improve? We always want to improve, whether it's the gym or, gym guy, I just had to say gym, or getting better at a new skill. That's our inclination, to get better. So we gotta let the tech work for us. And it does to an extent, I guess. We can't let us be worked by it. Can't do that. It's easy because we get comfortable. You can get really comfortable. Don't feel pressure to ever have to get into the latest thing, Don't ever feel that way. It's okay. You don't have to get the newest thing right now, no matter how enticing it can be. I didn't get a PS5 when it first came out, but to be fair, I couldn't because of the fucking scalpers. But I still didn't want to get it anyway when it first came out. I just got this shit on a deal, relatively. Especially if you're a PC gamer. Holy shit. I got sidetracked from this, but when you're a PC gamer, every single fucking year there's something new compared to consoles. See, I missed that whole part of the conversation because I went somewhere else, because there's so much. See, there's always so much of an influx. It's always so much of an influx. Even right now, I'm trying to piece it all together, Trying to piece it all together. Then again, stream of consciousness. I'm just talking here. I'm just talking. on PC side, there's always new processors. There's always new motherboards. There are always new speeds. There's always new RAM. There's always new storage or more storage. Better, better tech on that pertains to those specific things. New graphics cards. And of course, games like every single year there's a new game, though to be fair, a lot of them are always the same. Call of Duty. Yeah, so Assassin's Creed for a time. You know? Um don't ever feel pressured to have to fall into fit in the newest thing. You don't have to. It's not necessary. It's not really I'm sure it's not really necessary for your life. It's just you wanting to do it. Just being pressured, peer pressured, seeing other people. Maybe you see them having fun or whatever, but it's okay, man. You don't have to be like them. That's what I mean by like some negative effects that this bombardment of new stuff always comes at you. Mm. I was this close to buying a 3090. This close. That shit was expensive, but you know what I realized? I didn't need it. Not right now. I use that money for the other things. Especially for the surgery, actually. I actually gave back that card because of my surgery. I needed the surgery more than I needed that card. And it wasn't that I wanted to fit in. Of course, I just wanted a more powerful PC, but it's like, do I get a more powerful PC? Or do I get an operation that I actually need that's vital to my health? If I let this continue, if I would have let this continue, my teeth would have shifted more. It would have still hurt. From time to time, my gums would have still been, inflamed every now and then. Holy shit, we've actually been running for longer than the first episode. I told my girlfriend it was going to come out to just over 30 minutes, but about an hour. And here we are. This is not a discussion that you can actually have in like 30 minutes unless you're just some summarizer. I'm not here to summarize shit, Not up until the end. Not until the end. But, yeah, I gave that money back because I needed it for this operation. And I'm not also in a position to spend frivolously. I'm still trying to grow my store. I just opened it in mid-January. It's still early in, you know. And honestly, one of the reasons I also wanted to get that card was because Resident Evil Village kept giving me fucking issues, and then I just turned off all these services, and it worked. So then, once I realized that I could actually get this game to work properly on my rig, I was like, oh man, you know what? I don't really need that card. I really didn't need it. I figured it out. I figured it out. I figured it out. Thankfully. I've had this rig since 2018. With PCs, well, sometimes you're enticed to actually get the newest thing, especially if you get weaker components. Weaker graphics card or CPU or whatever. But that's one of the drawbacks. Sometimes they can be expensive, but then again, a PC provides you with a way better experience and way more value than just a normal console can. So its price can be justified in what you can do with it. See, there you go. That's a piece of tech right there. Consoles can't provide you the same experience that a PC can because a PC you can actually work. Sorry, streamers. So, console streamers. And again, see, well, console streamers actually use PCs, so what the fuck am I saying? They have to use them, They do have to use them. But even if you're not streaming, it's there for you to help work. Whether you're coding, writing a paper, developing an app and coding go hand in hand. Making a resume, creating a LinkedIn profile, making a podcast, creating an online store, I guess you can say that this tech is helping us work, have us work in better ways. It does. It does. I want to be hopeful, man, about a lot of these things, about our new tech and how much we have to like adapt. But the thing is, I feel like we're adapting for something that's just going to have us lose ourselves. Like it really just feels that there's no stopping what these films and books and music and games have always told us. So very prophetic so many times. Like like it doesn't feel like it's going to stop. It doesn't feel like it's going to go in another direction. Sometimes it just feels planned. Though some people are apprehensive me about people saying things like that. It's like, dude, come on, man. We think to ourselves like, not the book 1984. Never read it. I have the book, but I know what it consists of and what happens in the fucking book. That it's supposed to be, you read it to make sure you don't do something like that. And various books have been written like that, or movies, or games, or whatever. But it's like, were they there to warn us, or were they there to slightly hint at what's actually going to happen? Because it's falling into place too easily. Well, not too easily. There is some resistance, as there should be, about things of that nature. Digital control and of information, control of people, money, and food, water, just utilities, gas. I don't know. Tech is improving in the medical field. It always does. Lets doctors be more efficient professionals, thankfully. Well, I will say that it's not always used for good, and I don't think anyone can deny that. My cousin wanted to be a biomedic. He wanted to get into biomedicine, which did consist of having to deal with prosthetics. And nowadays, though they are prosthetics, it's pretty much that's a prototype for modern prosthetics, which would be like cyber enhancements or augmentations. Thanks, Deus Ex. He wanted to get more into that. I thought that was pretty cool. He didn't, unfortunately. Maybe he will in the future. I really hope so. I was really excited for him to get into that. Less about the money, though. I'm sure there is money involved, but just that's cool. Just that kind of tech, and just to be able to help people out. But like with any tech, you run the risk of losing part of you, or maybe not you, but just humanity in general. That's why you can't let yourself get sucked into all this. Don't get sucked into films or games or whatever. You need to be in reality. As much as I love games, as much as I love film, as much as I love music, um, only so much of it is in reality. You know, there was a point in time where there was no internet, there was no music. Well, what we consider music anyway. No movies, no microphones or whatever. Because none of this is going to be there when you get dropped into a fucking desert like Tony Stark. And you need to somehow survive. You need to remember. You need to remember that adversity and that hard work is what makes you human. Be able to feel Feel sadness, feel anger, feel love, especially love. I hate how people, hate is a strong word, but it it's infuriating when people say things like that are cringy or they're corny, but it's like it's true. These motherfuckers talking about corniness and whatever, and it's like, yeah, but your thought process, because of your thought process, that's what fucks everything up. A lot of problems would be solved with love, as corny as it sounds or how unrealistic it sounds. A lot of problems would, not every problem, but a significant amount. Man does this to help each other. You need to improve yourself, not only to help you, but in a very, but in another sense to help your fellow man. And that's why tech is there too. That's why we create tech. I'm not gonna insert myself in there. I've never fucking created anything except drawings in this podcast and some other things. Not an invention anyway. We do it to help each other, to help ourselves, just to make for a greater purpose. That's why we do these things. That's why we create. It's not just about you. I'm very individualistic, but even I can't lose sight of my fellow man. We can't do that. Because if you lose sight of your fellow man, then there are no people. There is no people. You have to think for each other. Think, that's not the right word to describe it. You need to think about each other. Simple. For each other. Sorry, somebody messaged on Facebook. See? Convenience. Helpful. Though it's not exactly for work right now. It can be. It can be. There's a lot of things that I didn't touch on what this tech that that we that we only consider as tech does. But there is a lot that it does do that helps us work more efficiently. I have mentioned some of them. But it's based on how we communicate. Because a lot of things that how we work is based on communication. It's vital to our existence. It just gets murky and bad when people don't want to talk in person. They only want to talk behind the fucking keyboard or the screen. It's like you can't have that. That's what I mean. You can't let yourself get drawn in by this tech. At some point, you need to be able to know how to switch it off. It's scary. It's scary. It's scary just thinking about that. Like when people record shit on their phones when something bad is happening and they don't even think to do anything. They're just behind the screen. They get so engrossed into clout, in clout, likes, fame, and whatever. And just the tech in general. Just wanting to put it up in general on the internet for people to see. Then helping whoever needs their help. Sometimes it's not smart to get into it. But a lot of times, a lot of lives could be saved because if you had just done something, that person had done something. Instead of worrying about recording it, fuck your recording and go help your fellow man. Seriously. Pisses me off. You need to be. Sometimes I know I'm repeating myself a lot in some of these things, but you need to. It is so vital for you to know when to disconnect it, when to disconnect that tech. You need to know when. It's not always healthy. It's not just about me, it's about you. How I can help you. As a Christian, though there are some things in that book that are so highly questionable about what happened, though that's another topic for another time. It's about not just about me, but about you and how we can help each other and how that plays into God's plan for one another and how it helps with what he wants from us and how it plays into his glory. We're so fixated on becoming gods. We're not gods. There's one God. I'd like to believe. I know there is a God. There's a higher being. We are his masterpiece. And to think that we're ever going to create something as greater than he did is laughable and arrogant. Though it is crazy how mechanical we really are. Some of our internal mechanisms as humans actually resemble a lot of things that we've created. Though I can't remember at the top of my head some of the things because it's been a while that I read this book called God's Crime Scene. If you never heard of that book, go check it out. God's Crime Scene. It's about a ex-atheist turns Christian. Though I'm not gonna say that the vice versa doesn't exist, but this book is about an ex-atheist turned Christian who uses cold case detective principles in order to find evidence of there being a God, in reality, in this universe or outside of our universe, or just in general. It is a fascinating book because it reads like a crime drama and just in the greatest investigation ever known to man. Imagine this person is actually using clues within our world and our universe in order to figure out that there is a God. Just to prove. I know this is kind of going off the rails of my initial topic, but yeah, that's what the book is about. Go check it out. Still, in the book, he does describe how there are mechanisms within the human body that resemble a lot of the tech that we create or that we have created. So it's kind of crazy how cyclical it is. How cyclical it seems to be. It's amazing, actually. We really do resemble our creator, I guess, in a way. But don't think that we can be like him. I'm pretty sure some of you are probably like, all right, time to turn it off. Nah, fuck. Nah, dude, I'm just talking me, man. I'm just talking me. Keep an open mind. You got to keep an open mind. Don't be closed-minded, man. Can't be. Always let yourself always be able to always be open to the possibility that you're wrong. That's also what being human is about. Just freedom, liberty, open-mindedness, not just for yourself, but for others. And it already does it, but we need to continue allowing tech to help us with that. We can't let tech help ruin this world. We need to create tech that's intentions are clear and we don't use it for the wrong thing. We need to be able to use it for our fellow man and for our world. And in the future, if we do end up colonizing other worlds, for those worlds as well, and the people that come from it. We need to be able to do it, man. We can't let our evil or some of our evilness and our worst tendencies to get hold of us. Because that's what being human is about, right? Conquering that, being able to fight adversity and rise above and be the best that we can be. Wow. Okay, so I guess that's where I'm going to end it off. It's already been 90 minutes, guys. Been 90 minutes. I didn't think it would last that long, but I think this discussion was very important. It's very important to me, and I hope you get a lot out of it. Um, that it affects you in a very good way. You can get value out of this. So yeah, to conclude, so I guess to conclude this, that's what, as ever changing it is about the discussion of being human right now, and I know, and I'm sure it has been for a long time, being human is being able to face those adversities and being able to rise above them. And in this modern world, we need to allow tech to help us do that and not just make it easier for us to watch a movie at home. I said it in the first episode, and others that have told me before have heard it. There is always a new level, and it's our job to get to that level. So yeah, that was the Outer Deus podcast, episode 2. I really enjoyed making this. I was actually really tired today, but I managed to get it done. Again, I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you got some value out of it. I'm really looking forward to next week doing another one. I haven't figured out what topic I'm going to discuss or how, in what shape or form. But yeah, really excited to keep doing this. I really like it. Again, if you haven't gone to the websites or my links, I'd like to clarify that I do want to keep this podcast ad-free. As a minimalist, it's not something that I want to actually resort to with this podcast. I actually want to keep it ad-free, not just for me, but for you as well. Ads are just annoying as fuck, and it's not something that people really need on a day-to-day basis, especially for products that may not be essential. I know that's a tough thing to kind of say nowadays, especially with COVID, but you might not really need whatever product of an advertisement I'm giving you. And I don't really want to do that to you. It's not really helpful either. It can negatively affect you and those around you. I've said that on my website. If you haven't stumbled upon it, if you have, you would recognize that. You recognize the similar words. So yeah, if you want to support this keep supporting this podcast in any way, shape, or form. Right now, I do have a PayPal.me link. If you like to donate to that, it's PayPal.me/theouterheaven. Again, that's PayPal.me/theouterheaven. I really like to move forward. Am moving into crypto. I have been since this year, so I don't have the receiver address handy at the moment, though I could look it up. But for right now, I won't bother getting into that, but maybe in the few more episodes, I'll be able to give you an update on that. So if you'd like to donate in that form instead of in traditional cash, yeah, I'll update you guys on that, whether on the website or on the episodes. Again, my Instagram is instagram.com/the _ outer heaven. Facebook is facebook.com/Ivan Nero, Nero, after the Ivan .Trevino. My YouTube is youtube.com/the outer heaven _iVenom. If you go onto my Facebook, or again, if you go onto my Facebook or my Instagram, I do have my link trees that have all my links there for where my podcast is available, my website, my donation tab, and also my Patreon, which I have under construction. I am actually making a Patreon for some exclusive things that I want to do for you guys at some point in the future. So for Facebook and Instagram, if you just like to get updates, obviously if you already know me, then you don't really have to do this. But if you don't have me, if you want to see some updates or whatever I'm up to, or some potential new work that I'm gonna do, feel free to follow my face or friend me on Facebook or follow my Instagram. Same thing with YouTube. If you like to get some insight on my past work that I've done, feel free to go there, like, follow, subscribe to that. I am a gamer, so I'll more than likely make a gaming video here and there. I may do sound bites of these episodes and upload them on there. So that's the deal with that. So keep a lookout for that. I will be playing with a couple of buddies of mine, and I may record it tomorrow night and upload it for Killing Floor 2. I know, Killing Floor 2, but hey, it's a fun game. We'll see. I don't know. And again, I'm trying to keep this thing weekly, so an episode a week. More than likely, you'll be getting them every Thursday, though I am recording this Thursday night because of my business. I have to keep attending to that. That is my main source of income, and it's the thing that I'm focusing on the most. You should be getting these either Thursdays or Fridays with some bonus episodes. I am looking to do a Halloween bonus episode with some buddies, so hopefully you guys are on the lookout for that as well. Really looking forward to do that. Halloween is awesome. I love the fall. Horror, man, come on. So yeah, I guess that about wraps it up. So this is iVenom with the theouterdeuspodcast 2. And here is some of that really nice and pleasant Lofi hip-hop I was playing at the beginning of this. Oh, and one more thing, guys. I'm really sorry about the humming noise in that you can hear over the microphone. Right now, I actually don't have a dead cat or a pop filter, though I'm more than likely going to use a dead cat. I'm actually using RTX voice with my graphics card in order to filter out that humming noise with the microphone. I tested it out before and it seemed to work, but I guess in some parts of this recording you can actually hear it. I'm really sorry about that. I'm looking forward to getting that fixed up. So hopefully I'm going to be doing some tests this weekend when I get the dead cat, see if that goes away. If not, I will be using an arm and shock mount to help with that as well. So you guys won't have to be subjected to that, all right? So again, thank you very much for listening. I'll be working hard on that to make sure the podcast is up to the best quality as possible. So I'm not using GarageBand anymore. I'm actually using Audacity at the moment. I'm more than likely going to keep using that. So I should have this situated by the 3rd episode next week. So real ending this time. This is the Outer Deus Podcast, episode 2, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.